I think Donald Trump thinks it's already done. I think he thinks he's already paid him because Bitcoin rose to 100,000 and 9,000. Everybody who gave Trump money had an opportunity to sell their Bitcoin at a huge gain. He knows that. All the donors that gave Trump money were able to sell their Bitcoin over 100,000 and make a lot more in profit than they donated to his campaign. Right. So I think Trump thinks that he's paid his debt. Right. I gave you guys a big Bitcoin rally. He even came up when Bitcoin got to 100,000. Trump said, "You're welcome." He said, "Bitcoin is at 100,000. You're welcome, guys." So he knew it was because of him. And everybody who wanted out had the chance to sell. Of course, the problem is a lot of people were too greedy to sell because they were waiting for 1 million. Well, that's not Trump's fault.
U.S. President Donald Trump's recent proposal to include leading altcoins in the U.S. strategic cryptocurrency reserve has sparked a wide array of reactions. This move, which would see the inclusion of various cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and altcoins such as XRP, has drawn both support and strong opposition. Supporters of the proposal argue that it could help the U.S. stay ahead of global trends in digital currencies, especially as other nations begin to develop their own central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. However, critics of the plan, including prominent figures like economist Peter Schiff, have raised concerns about the viability and necessity of including such volatile assets in the country's official reserves. Peter Schiff, a longtime critic of cryptocurrencies, has made it clear that he is opposed to the idea of a Bitcoin reserve. Although Schiff admits that he understands the rationale behind a Bitcoin reserve, he still does not agree with it. His stance, however, becomes even more pronounced when it comes to the inclusion of altcoins like XRP. Schiff expressed his disbelief about why XRP, a cryptocurrency that he views as lacking inherent value, would be included in a reserve meant to safeguard national interests. In a post on X, Schiff asked, "What's the rationale for an XRP reserve? Why the hell would we need that?" Schiff's comments reflect his broader skepticism about the long-term stability and utility of cryptocurrencies in general. He has long been an advocate for traditional assets like gold and has frequently argued that digital currencies, particularly Bitcoin, are speculative and unstable. His opposition to a strategic cryptocurrency reserve that includes altcoins like XRP stems from his belief that these assets are too volatile and speculative to be included in the nation's financial reserves. Schiff's critique of the proposal is not limited to XRP alone, but rather is part of a broader argument against cryptocurrencies as a whole. We present the clips of Peter's insights from his recent interview. Before we continue to discuss this, please subscribe to our channel and activate the bell icon for timely updates.
A lot of people are going to get wiped out. Yeah, a lot of people made a lot of money. A lot of people think they made a lot of money, but they haven't because they haven't sold, right? That's the mantra. Never sell your Bitcoin. Well, if you never sold any Bitcoin, you haven't made any money yet, right? It's like the old gambler song, don't count your chips while you're still sitting at the table, right? Bitcoiners are counting their chips every day, right? But they're still in the game. They haven't sold. But yeah, Bitcoin went way up when Trump was elected. It went from about 60 to 60 something thousand before the election up to almost 110,000. Got to 109,000. As we're talking, it's back down at about 84,500. So it's still much higher than it was before Trump was elected, but it's down about 14% on the year. And it's certainly down since Trump was inaugurated. I think that the short-term risk is that the market drops back down to where it was before Trump won, which is probably 50 to 60,000. The question is, how long does it stay in that range and where does it go next? I think that if we don't get the creation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve and some type of commitment legally where the U.S. government is going to be going into the market and actually buying Bitcoin, if that doesn't happen, then Bitcoin is going to break substantially lower from there. And people are going to get just completely wiped out. I don't know what the odds of that are. I think it is, less than 50-50. I don't think Trump is going to do that. I don't even know that he has the legal authority to do that. I think that's something that Congress would have to enact. The chances of Congress passing a Bitcoin bill are zero, unless maybe they can cram it into the debt ceiling increase or something. But there's no way they're going to straight up vote for it There's no support for that in Congress. And I don't think Loomis has the clout to get it into a reconciliation or something. So I don't think Congress is going to do it. Trump would have to do it by executive order. But if he was going to do that, he would have done it already. So I think like Trump was smart politically in recognizing there was a voter block in Bitcoin where they were single issue voters. If you promise to make them rich by pushing up the value of their Bitcoin, you got their vote. And so Trump said, hey, these are easy votes to get. I just got to come out pro Bitcoin and I get all these votes. Plus, the whales in Bitcoin had a lot of money. And he said, hey, how do I get money from these Bitcoin whales? I just got to come out pro Bitcoin. And the biggest donors of the 2024 campaign was crypto. So Trump got a lot of money from Bitcoin whales. And, he used them. He got their money and he got their votes. That's politics.
On the other hand, proponents of the plan see value in diversifying the reserve to include leading altcoins alongside Bitcoin. They argue that including altcoins like XRP, Ethereum, and others could help the U.S. stay competitive in an evolving global digital economy. By embracing a broader range of cryptocurrencies, advocates believe the U.S. would signal to the world that it is not just focused on the future of Bitcoin, but is also open to exploring the potential of other digital assets that could play a role in the future of global finance. The inclusion of altcoins could also serve to hedge against the risks associated with Bitcoin's volatility. In Schiff's view, however, the inclusion of altcoins like XRP would only serve to introduce unnecessary risk into the U.S. reserve. He questions the inherent value of cryptocurrencies like XRP, pointing to their dependence on centralized networks and potential regulatory challenges. For Schiff, Bitcoin at least has some level of decentralization that gives it a degree of legitimacy, but he does not see this in the case of altcoins, which he believes are more susceptible to government intervention and manipulation. This makes him even more wary of including them in a national reserve.
Obviously, I wish I had bought it, but I outsmarted myself because I didn't think it was going to work, and I still don't think it's going to work. But what I did underestimate was how foolish other people would be in their belief that it would work, or their own ignorance or their own greed. I mean, it was an opportunity for me to make a lot of money off the foolishness of other people. Had I had the foresight to realize they'd be that dumb. But it's not just that dumb. I mean, the people who got into Bitcoin later on, there was some big money that got in when Bitcoin was maybe, 300, 400, 500. I think some people took some meaningful positions at that price point and did a fantastic job of hyping it up and marketing it and creating this gigantic cult of Bitcoin, which has grown, to a degree that I couldn't have possibly known about in 2010 when I first thought about buying it. But
Okay.
when I thought about buying it again after it went up to 1,000, right? And I'm like, shit, I was like, shit, I could have bought that I could have made a lot of money. When it pulled back to 200 or 300 and it kind of stayed there for a few years, I thought about, maybe it'll go back up. Maybe it'll go above 1,000. Maybe I should buy some. I mean, the chart, I looked at the chart and I saw some, I had other friends that hedge funds, people were, hey, they're buying Bitcoin. I'm like, really? They're buying Bitcoin? And I thought, well, shit, I guess there's some people buying it now. I mean, maybe it's going to do something. And I just couldn't get over the fact that I didn't buy it at $1. And I'm like, shit, I'm going to pay 300 for something I didn't want to buy at $1. And I guess I should have done it because then I could have. But the question is, where would I have sold it? I mean, I'm sure I would have sold a lot of it. Maybe I'd still have some of it. I don't know. But I'm sure as hell not going to buy any of it now. And had I bought it back then, I wouldn't be buying more now.
It's funny hearing you talk about it and the people that have jumped on and not understanding why they're buying something that doesn't really, in my opinion, even exist. I mean, it's like, it sort of reminds me of the day of the pet rock, when you could go into the convenience store and buy a stone and they called it a pet rock and people actually bought it. And hey, I'm sure somebody made a lot of money selling pet rocks.
Right, but at least you could use it as a doorstop or a paperweight. Right. Maybe you can put it in a fish tank. I mean, it had some use.
Right. You could hit yourself in the head with it.
Well, look, the only thing that's useful about Bitcoin is that if I have some Bitcoin, in my wallet and you have a wallet, I can send you some of my Bitcoin. I don't need an intermediary. I don't need a third party. But there are thousands of other cryptos where I can do the same thing. Now you could say, well, there's more confidence in Bitcoin, there's more reliability, and that may be true. But at the end of the day, the Bitcoin itself doesn't have that much value. It's not going to work as a store of value, and it's not a good unit of account or a medium of exchange. So it has some features that are not necessarily unique to Bitcoin. But the problem is too that the potential for the price to collapse is so great that I would have, no comfort in putting any significant amount of money into Bitcoin because I would be so worried that the price would collapse.
Ultimately, the debate surrounding Trump's proposed cryptocurrency reserve highlights a key division between traditional financial thinking and the emerging world of digital assets. While advocates of cryptocurrencies argue that they represent the future of money and global finance, critics like Peter Schiff remain steadfast in their belief that these digital assets are too speculative and unreliable to serve as foundational components of national financial reserves. The ongoing discussions around the proposal will likely continue to be shaped by this ideological divide, as the U.S. and other nations navigate the complexities of integrating digital currencies into their financial systems. Share your thoughts on Peter's analysis in the comment section below. If you find this video informative, don't forget to support and turn on notifications to stay informed about our latest videos. See you in the next video.